I hate the Vikings. I started out the season with talking about the predictions for the year with Matt Ramage on his show. And I said I could see the Vikings having a very rough year with a lot of ups and downs. And I thought that they would finish fourth in the division. Well, the the Vikings are making me look silly here so far. I didn't think Sam Darnold was going to start, but boy, what a start for them. So the Vikings are 3-0 going into Sunday, into week 4 against the Packers, who are 2-1. It's at Lambeau Field at noon. It's a gold package game, so it's going to be a half and half as far as attendance. And yeah, this team feels like no joke this year. I mean, I really thought they were going to struggle. You know, you get rid of this quarterback and Kirk Cousins, he goes to Atlanta. I thought the Vikings were going to just have a QB who couldn't put it together, which was going to grow into a frustrated team. I didn't anticipate the defense to be as good as they are. I didn't anticipate the offense to be as good as it is. It is a making it for an interesting matchup come this weekend. I'm hoping Jordan's back. I would appreciate if Jordan was back because of the fact that if Jordan's not back, it's going to make this a much taller task. Obviously, that goes without saying. So let's kind of look at where the Vikings are sitting here. Offensively, they are 12th in overall yardage in the game with 329.7 yards. Pretty evenly split as far as where they're at in the NFL for passing or rushing. They're 13th in the NFL with passing for 204 on average a game. And then they're 14th in the NFL for rushing at 125 yards per game. Compared that to the Packers, they're 5th in total offense with 391 yards per game on average, 187 of which being passing yards, which is 20th in the league. And then 204 of that is rushing yards, which is first in the league. That's really no surprise given the Packers game plan the last couple weeks has been really run heavy and not as much passing. So there's not a whole lot of surprise there. All right, Michael, I better see that diploma. But now as far as the points per game, the Vikings are 3rd in average points in the NFL right now with 28.3 average per game compared to the Packers, who are 6th with an average of 25 points per game. So far, both teams are kind of right there with each other. Defense is where it gets interesting. So defense, I was looking at their defense, and I've seen a lot of conflicting things as far as the sack amounts for the Vikings. So ESPN says that they're leading the league with 16 sacks. But I'm not really sure because I've seen other things say 15. And then I looked through their individual game stats, which showed them with 11 sacks. I don't know. I'm probably missing something. I'm not an expert at this by any means. I'm just looking up stats and kind of looking through stuff. The Packers, on the flip side, have produced 11 sacks through 3 games. So they had 8 last week, which gave them the big bump. The Vikings do not seem to give up sacks. They gave up 1 against the Giants, who the Giants, I think, are 2nd in the NFL in sacks. And then they gave up 0 against the 49ers, which is pretty impressive considering, 49ers and their line and what they're historically known for their defensive line. And then with the Texans, they gave up 4. So the Packers, on the flip side, have also given up 5 sacks. So very close there as well from an offensive line standpoint. The Vikings are 4th in total turnovers generated. They've had 5 interceptions and 1 fumble. Their 5 interceptions is 2nd in the NFL. They're 6th in the NFL on a turnover differential of +2. They've given up 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles for their 6 turnovers. Packers, 1st in turnovers. We've had 7 interceptions and 2 fumbles, and we're 1st in turnover differential. We've only lost 1 interception against the Eagles and 1 fumble against the Colts. So it is a pretty well matched game. I think, you know, and feel free to chime in here now that I'm kind of done going over all these stats and kind of talking about the breakdowns there. But personally, the Vikings have a lot of weapons. And I've goofed on the Vikings, right? And I've talked my smack about the Vikings because I do hate them. Um, but it's pretty wild how evenly matched it feels like they're heading into this game. I'm hoping Jordan coming back can really push that over the edge. You know, if our run game allows Jones to run all over us like Saquon did, it might be a long day. If they can utilize Jones like they utilize Saquon week one, it might be a long day. I'm not as worried about the deep shots constantly downfield to like Justin Jefferson. I'm more worried about, what we saw against the Titans and with having receivers be kind of in their own area for a lot of times. We saw a lot of confusion, if you will, or Titans receivers just finding like the gaps in the zones. But there's a lot of times where it seemed like receivers were just kind of open. And I don't know that Sam Darnold and that offensive line is going to make the same mistakes that we saw Will Levis make. I think if you can pressure Darnold and force some turnovers while taking care of the ball, then hopefully we can take care of the game. But uh, you know, yeah, I mean, another great point when these two teams play, throw away the stats in the playbook. I mean, you're going to see stuff that I'm sure it's going to be a lot different than their previous games, game plans. Kevin O'Connell's a really good coach, and you're going to see both teams really come out swinging, I think. And ultimately, I think, the Vikings have beat some pretty good opponents, right? They beat the Texans and they beat the 49ers. The Giants are a weaker opponent right now, but the 49ers and the Texans, and to really handle the Texans the way that they did, is a pretty impressive feat. However, every year we go into the NFL season with teams that we think are going to be good or continue being good that really struggle all season long. 49ers, we're seeing it with injuries. A lot of their big players are out with injuries. I don't know if it's the tough part is I don't know if it's that, or I don't know if it's the Vikings are just taking care of business. The Texans, we all had high hopes. We thought, oh my gosh, the Texans might make a deep run in the playoffs. Are they just coming back to reality? Was last year a fluke? Was last year one of those years where they kind of, you know, had things go their way, the ball bounced their way, and now it's not going their way? Is Stroud having a sophomore slump type of season? Um, that's the thing. I just don't know if the Vikings are. I don't know if the Vikings are that legit, or if the teams they're going against just are having that unlucky start. Same could be said about the Packers. Are the Packers legit, or are they just playing weaker opponents? I don't know. We're so early on into the season; it's hard to say for sure. Jason, I like this mentality though. Jason's saying Jair is about to gritty all over Lambeau again. I think LaFleur has the Vikings number. Jason, I hope you're right, my friend. I hope you're well, by the way. Hope everything's going well in the cave. Give Buddha a rub for me. I hope to get over there again soon. It was a blast a couple of years ago now. God, it's been more than a couple of years ago. Was that 2019, Jason, that I went over there? That doesn't feel right, but life is a blur, so it has to be right. But Jason had me come over to his man cave and watch a game with them, and it was a blast. Packers beat the Lions that day. It was a really frustrating game. I don't think we had to rub Buddha for any help, but his presence was there. You could feel it. Uh, for context, Jason has a very big Buddha statue that's all Packered out in his man cave, and you rub its belly for good luck only in desperation times. So, but yeah, I think if the Packers want to win this weekend, the key for that is going to be take care of the ball, keep that turnover differential on your side. Hopefully, the gold package doesn't shell out or sell out all their tickets to Vikings fans like they've done in yesteryears. And not everyone, of course. I'm not saying all of gold package fans are bad, but I've had some pretty bad experiences at gold package games, and And I hope that it's a loud game, and I hope the Packer fans are well represented in Minnesota stuck out. It's gonna be a battle though. Really need to take away their weapons and Justin Jefferson. You need to take away Aaron Jones the best you can. Both are gonna make plays, and you just got to take care of business. I hope Josh Jacobs can run against their defense. I forgot to check. I had it written down, but I must have deleted it. I don't know. I was trying to clean it up, but I must have deleted where they're at. So Minnesota's run defense is one of the best in the NFL. I accidentally removed that from my notes. Um, Minnesota's run defense is one of the best in the NFL. However, that makes sense because their pass defense isn't the greatest because of the fact that with the games they've been in, the games they've been playing, they've led so much that the opponent is one dimensional, right? The opponent doesn't run anymore. And then the opponent's just throwing the ball. So Minnesota's pass defense looks worse on paper than I think it actually is. And their run defense looks better on paper than it actually is. If the Packers want to beat the Vikings, they need to start out, get that run game going, open up play action, and really allow the team to not be one dimensional and keep the Vikings team guessing, capitalize on big plays, limit mistakes, and do the opposite to the Vikings, right? Make them one dimensional, get up early, make them beat you with a passing game, which they can beat you with, create pressure on the quarterback, and just really lock them down.